this afternoon, yeah. So I'm Diane Baxter, I'm the chair of the LSP board. As always, we encourage the board members to turn the camera on. I think they do all have the camera on. And everyone, please ensure your cell phones are in silent mode. We'll now proceed with roll call to establish that who from the board is participating and to establish a quorum. So let's say David Austin,
Yes.
Gail Batchelder, Kathy Campbell,
Present.
Craig Ellis,
Present.
Greg McBride,
Yes, here.
Paul McKinley,
I am present.
Diane Baxter, me present. So Gail is not, Kirk Franklin is not, Patrick Heron is not, and Jamie Smith is not. Okay, but we have 6 board members present of 10, so we have a quorum. All right, Chris, in addition to you, who is participating external?
We have Wendy Rundle, Lars Anderson, and Rebecca Russell.
Right, thank you. All right, first up, we have the Continuing Education Committee meeting. I turn it over to Chairperson David Austin for.
Sure, thanks. So I'll begin the continuing ed committee meeting at 12:15. And before the new business 3 course approval request, there's just the meeting minutes. Any comments? On the move to accept as written. Second.
Second.
We have to go through roll call to approval.
Yes.
Okay, so approving the meeting minutes from last month. Diane, Greg,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thanks for doing the meeting minutes. For new business, the first one is an LSPA 2 technical credits webinar and gospel future on demand. And it's actually from 1 to 3 o'clock on May 21st on incremental sampling methodology. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussions from the board or public? A yes is approval. Diane,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that's approved. And then the second request is an EBC, PFAS analytical methods, 2.5 technical credits webinar later this month. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion from the public or board? A yes is approval. Diane,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and I'm a yes. And the last one is contaminant hydrology, hydrogeology, Midwest Geosciences. It's in person, 16 technical credits. It looks like this is the first offering. And that they're going to tour with it, but they seem to just be requesting approval for this one offering.
Indiana.
So is it virtual or? It's in person. But, I mean, it's acceptable, but so it gets approved as a course number and then they offer it like an East Coast or another city. Do they have to come back with your approval or just an announcement? Just
I think
curious.
it's
what
been an
things-
announcement.
Who sent the
I don't think
instructor?
you're-
Okay. So I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the public? Or board? Yes is approving. Diane,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Kathy,
yes,
Greg,
yes,
Paul,
yes,
and I'm a yes. And other agenda item is a discussion about the board here presenting maybe at the LSPA monthly meeting in June. There was a request.
Yeah, the request is actually for Diane and I to do a presentation, sort of an overview of what the board does. And we haven't really talked about in what it's gonna be, but
Yeah.
what we're gonna say yet, so
Right.
it may be a little premature, Hunter, but
Okay.
it's probably not gonna have a whole lot of substance to it, other than just sort of an overview of what the board does. That we're looking at amending the regs in the near future, we're working on that. You know, maybe a little bit about the disciplinary process.
If we have any vacancies at the time,
Yeah.
promoting those. But yeah, sort of, really an overview.
Well, this came up with a year and a half ago, I guess, maybe two. So this is good. I'm sure it's long overdue.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we haven't really talked about exactly what we're gonna say yet, so I don't know. How, you know, if we, I mean, it's not until June, so you could table it, we can come back and see if we thought more about it before the May meeting.
What's the open question? Whether.
whether
board
it can be,
Thinks it's a good idea?
no, whether there should be LSP credit.
The LSP
Being
asked
used.
whether they could get, whether people, LSPs could get credit for attending.
So they've already scheduled it. It's on the books and they have that question.
I think it's our monthly meeting for June.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they've asked us to
Oh, I see.
attend and maybe present, and if we can present enough for LSP credit, they would probably would want that.
I don't know about the credits, but this board did it in the past. And there was a presentation that was drafted, Gail and a former member did it. And it was discussed, as Greg said a few years ago. And with the board a few years ago, I frankly wasn't motivated, but now I'm totally motivated. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we,
That's honest.
No, I think it's useful to communicate
Yeah.
to the membership.
yeah,
And yes, by having a credit, it'll generate more attendance.
well, yeah, that's true. I guess, are there any thoughts on what it should include in order to merit a credit? Is there anything, or maybe is education about the board enough to warrant a credit?
You know,
Seems enough to me.
there are big changes coming down too, the way LSPs interact with the board. All
True,
that's gonna change or has changed.
Hopefully,
It-
the board signed up, but that's a different story. A little bit maybe about disciplinary issues, so maybe some themes that came up. I'm not sure there is one, but that would be useful.
We definitely could do that, we've done that in the distant past, when I was in the board before, we had whole trainings about
Right.
disciplinary cases and the issues that have come up. There hasn't been a lot of discipline in the recent past, but we could certainly look back at that historical stuff and discuss that if that would be worthwhile.
Yeah, the presentation back in 2016 was mainly based on discipline and the process. Since we haven't been in front of the LSPA in a while, maybe we don't want to harp too much on discipline.
Well, no, but it's a significant
our
part of what
function.
this board does.
And it's starting up again too, so.
It's also a new generation who would want to hear about how to come in LSP,
Yeah.
how to apply and what the process is. I think seeing all the new faces would be great for them.
There you go. It's a great idea.
all right.
So,
Anyone online have any
Oh.
comment or
So
concern?
what's,
Yeah, you got Paul here. So is this sort of a refresher, like nuts and bolts, and would that be eligible for a credit, I guess? And because my view would be yes, right? You got a new generation. If you talked about maybe the new electronic sort of application renewal process, I just went through a renewal process yesterday, and it was really like the process, but maybe a review even of just the nuts and bolts of being an LSP, getting licensed and maintaining that license, I think would be beneficial.
Rebecca Buswell from the public said, I believe the board has previously presented on LSP ethics.
It's a good idea.
Good topic.
So, it's. So it's scheduled, so to speak, and there's a desire to present, and it sounds like it will be.
And if you're comfortable, is adequate time? Do you have adequate time to prepare?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, the next meeting for this committee is, in May on the 14th. Same formats as today. Anything else?
do we vote on the,
Do we need to, yeah.
Oh.
do we
do
vote?
you wanna vote on the LSP board presentation to give it a credit? Do you wanna wait until the June meeting to bring it back, whatever?
Well, the we need a request, official request in writing. What you're presenting and how you're gonna maintain attendance and all that crap. For us to vote on, it's not crap. The standard material. We need a request in writing.
So we could give Wendy more information about what we think our
Well, we
slides will entail, and then the LSPA can put together that and bring it back for
Exactly.
the next meeting.
Right.
That's good.
All right.
And it has to come on DEP letterhead.
A DEP.
Oh,
letter?
what would it be, the LSPA requesting?
No, because
For DEP,
It's coming
it has to come from DEP.
Well, no, I mean, the last one was on LSPA letterhead, and
okay,
because it's LSP board regulatory credit, that's where you get the LSP regulatory credit.
Right, because it isn't really DEP, it's the board.
It's-
Right,
so
Which
We
is
do,
a
we
state
do that's
sure.
regulation for board courses that we present to get DEP credit for.
it's regulatory.
Is
not
it, it's
necessarily-
regulatory, but is it not DEP?
It is DEP credit too.
It is, last time it was.
Yeah, I'll double check it, but,
yeah, we can look at that. I know in the past we did with the LSP, we did a whole disciplinary training course for like a bunch of credits. But I don't remember like what the format, what who presented the request. Check.
Wendy just said the LSPA can write a request using our standard format for the May meeting. It would be wonderful to receive credit. And then she just typed, knowing about the credit in advance is helpful
Mhm.
for advertising it so people can plan ahead.
But she said May, didn't you say June?
She was gonna get the request.
For the May meeting, but the meeting.
For our
in June.
May meeting.
For,
Yeah.
for this to vote at this May meeting.
Okay,
I
Okay.
do remember what we did last time.
Oh, was that Gail?
Oh, Gail's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally made it in, but I do remember exactly what we did last time. So, and it was regulatory credit because the board is presenting it.
yeah, I have the request right in front of me now, and it was DEP credit as well.
Yeah.
To satisfy all the parties.
does that meet we've been saying in the past when there have been only a little bit of DEP involvement that it may not qualify?
No. The board counts as DEP regulatory credit. It has always done that in the past.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it, I just
Yeah,
wasn't
makes
sure it
sense.
met our.
Yes, It does.
other
It does. Yep, we've done courses and everything else. We did an 8-hour course, a 4-hour course, and presentations at the LSPA, and all of them have counted as regulatory credit, DEP regulatory credits, I think. Well, DEP regulatory, we better go back and check, but Terry, I'm sure we did, when we did that course, it was considered DEP regulatory credit.
Yeah, I'll have to double check, but I can definitely look before the May meeting.
And Matt, you said you have the last presentation that was.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be good to take a look at what has been presented before.
Like I said, it was mainly with the discipline and the flow and
Yeah.
the regulation discipline. So,
But
we can modify
What
it.
we
if we-
did, I can tell you simply what we did last time. It was only an hour's presentation, and we went over the disciplinary process and something about basically the basic facts about the board. You know, it's composed of this many people. Here's who they are and what position they represent. But it was basically on the board's disciplinary process, I think, that is what we focused on. But our courses, when we've done the courses and stuff, we've focused on the last couple. We've done like actual cases, and we put together a training on the rules of professional conduct and things like that. This is too short. I mean, this would be more like what we did last time, but we could certainly do a couple of, example cases from the past, sort of as teaching moments.
Mhm.
Okay, so, I'm bringing the meeting to an end at 12:28.
Okay. All right, the Professional Conduct Committee meeting is next, and Kirk Franklin
Both
is not
Jamie-
here,
Oh, they're
and
not
Jamie
here.
Smith is not here.
Somebody, was another board member want to do it?
Well, essentially,
Why doesn't David just continue?
well, it's essentially just getting a report from you.
Yeah, and doing the call to order, the draft minutes, the roll call of that. I don't know if you have the agenda in front of you.
I don't, I just had it, but.
Well,
Here's the
should
agenda.
I do
Sure.
it? All right, call to order at 12:30. Any announcements? Anyone have any agenda deletions or additions? No, okay. Review of draft minutes. Anyone have any comments? Draft minutes from March 12th?
I move to accept the minutes as written, if nobody has any comments.
Second,
Okay, a yes indicates, I guess, agreeing with that, approving the minutes. David Austin,
Yes,
Gail Bachelder,
Yes,
Kathy Campbell,
Yes,
Craig Ellis,
yes,
Greg McBride,
Yes,
Paul McKinley,
Yes,
Diane Baxter, yes. Okay, old business. Terry, review of active cases.
Chris, can you put the active case list up on the screen? So I'll just scroll over a little to the left so I can see the case number. Perfect. So I'll just go through the case list and talk about any changes since the last month. So 05C07, that's the case that's on appeal with the Massachusetts Appeals Court. Since we met last, the Assistant Attorney General submitted the board's brief on March 14th. The LSP submitted a reply brief on March 28th, and the board members were provided with the copies of those final briefs. The next thing that will happen is there will be a scheduling of oral argument in front of the appeals court. The Assistant Attorney General who's working on the case for the board will let me know when that's scheduled. And if anybody is interested, when you know the date of that oral argument, they have a YouTube channel, so you can watch that oral argument live if you're interested in hearing it. So I'll let everybody know when that's scheduled, and I don't know how long it might take before it's scheduled. I don't know what their calendar is like. The next case, 08C03, we discussed that last month at Quasi, and we will be discussing that again later today. If scrolling down to 312C01, there's nothing new on this. We had discussed this last month and decided to let it sit for the time being. Case number 418C01, the CRT has picked that case back up and is actively working on it. There was a CRT meeting on March 26th, and there's another one scheduled for later this month. So that one is active and being worked on to try to complete it in the near future. 18CO2, that one we need to schedule a CRT meeting in the near future. And 621CO1, the CRT is working on looking forward to trying to set up a time to interview the LSP, so that one is moving along as well. I should report at this time that the board no longer has a general counsel. That position is open, and so for the time being, I have added myself to the complaint review team for the open cases. And so I will be working with the complaint review teams to move those cases forward. And that's all I have on that.
All right. No new business. Future meeting is gonna be on May 14th. And we will adjourn at 12:34.
Thanks for coming
Yeah.
All right. Now we're on to,
I just sent it. I just submitted it. I had trouble getting on the computer today, so.
Yeah, like we can hear you.
No, it's all done. I check it. Yep.
yeah, you're not muted.
I'll explain later. I'm in a meeting right now, okay? Yeah.
What's she gonna order for lunch?
Okay. So now we're on to the board meeting. Call to order at 12:35 PM. I think there are no new announcements. Any changes to the agenda?
I have one, just when we get to, when I talk about, personnel, budget and fees, I'm just going to also add a discussion about, dealing with the board's documents, and destruction of documents that are beyond, what's required to keep those documents. So I'll just talk about that briefly when I talk about those other issues.
All right, sounds good. All right, review of draft minutes from the last meeting. Any comments on the draft minutes?
Move to approve as written.
Anyone want a second?
Second,
Okay. Yes is to approve the minutes.
Yes.
Gail Bachelder,
yes.
Kathy Campbell,
Yes.
Craig Ellis,
Yes.
Greg McBride,
Yes.
Paul McKinley,
Yes.
and Diane Baxter, yes. Okay, Matt, are you going to discuss licensing?
Yes, we have one new candidate, applicant Jane Parkin Coleman, number 5450. Received her LSP application. ARP 339 was established. Kirk Franklin, Kathy Campbell, and Greg McBride are on ARP. They met on April 4th, reviewed the application, and they decided to ask the applicant for additional information. So there's no vote today, but we hope to have that on the docket for the May meeting for vote. That's it.
All right, thank you. So there's no other ARPs, correct?
Yep, nope, we're done with that
All
category.
right, done with that category, so we're to renewal applications. We have I guess, 2 dockets now.
Correct.
All right. So now do we go through these person by
Yeah.
person or Matt?
Just talk-
Matt, you just.
Just by the docket, so just a roll call. approval.
I'll make a motion to approve docket 1.
Second,
Okay.
And Paul is recused because he's on.
And is that a problem with the numbers? So we only have.
Oh,
We have Gil on, we're okay.
oh, right, we
yeah,
have
yeah.
that.
Okay.
Trade the yards.
yeah, good.
Okay, so, yes is approving the minutes, approving the doc. David Austin,
Yes.
Gail Batchelder,
Yes,
Kathy Campbell,
Yes.
Craig Ellis,
Yes.
Greg McBride,
Yes.
Paul McKinley.
Recused.
Oh, he's recused, sorry. Short memory. Diane Baxter, yes. Okay, so docket 1 is approved. Docket 2, we have 1 person on.
motion to approve,
Second.
Okay, yes is approval. David Austin,
Yes.
Gail Batchelder,
yes,
Kathy Campbell,
Yes.
Craig Ellis,
Yes.
Greg McBride,
Yes.
Paul McKinley,
Yes.
and Diane Baxter, yes. Okay, so those are the renewals. Matt, were there any additional, or was that?
Yeah, just the overall update for the April 30th renewal group, 31 total on the roster. 4 were approved at the last meeting, 5 were just approved minutes ago. We'll expect to receive many of the additional renewal applications in the next couple of weeks and by the end of the month.
Okay, and then we'll vote on those next meeting. Okay. Very good. Other licensing matters. So we don't have any ARPs that we need to.
Yes, correct, there's no
No
applicants in the queue at this time, that's correct.
All right, inactive status report. Natasha?
Hi, so currently on inactive status, we have 2 LSPs. Current number of active is going to be 413 with 1 retirement as of 4/3. So that's going to be LSP 3911. I guess we'll go down to our annual fees report. A total of 413 have paid their annual fee, so that's about 97%. 39 paid via check, so 9%. 374 paid online, so that's 91%. For our Acela update, we have currently 13 LSPs who are outstanding and marked as suspended / fees. So that's about 3%. And as of right now, 11 LSPs are not linked to Acela. Just so you know, suspension notices went out on 4/2. They were suspended on 4/3. They have until June 30th to pay this fee.
can I just ask if when they're suspended, that would take away their privileges to sign anything, and Chris, do you update that when this happens?
Very, very apropos that you should mention that. I no longer update any of that. With the new system in place, all of the board information is updated by the board. With the new bear system that we implemented. This is a system that's taken us about 1.5 years to develop. So right now, when Natasha makes changes in the LSP database, that data basically trickles into the Epic system. I can no longer update LSP information in the Epic system. It's all done through the LSP board. So there's actually a
Okay.
big.
So my question is, has EDEP been notified that they're suspended and can't file anything?
It will be whenever it's changed in the LSP database. The connection is immediate.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking. Has it been
That's-
changed? Because they're suspended, they can't file anything.
Right, Natasha goes in and updates their expiration date and they can no longer, and when that date, about 2 hours after she updates that date goes into the Epic system as the new expiration date and the LSP can no longer file.
And Natasha, you did make those changes already, correct?
Yeah, those changes are made on 4/3.
Okay.
Yep.
So that they'll find out if they haven't, the concept, and they all know that, right? I mean, they just haven't paid and they know that will
Some
happen.
of these people are, we had the same issue with some of them last year, so they're somewhat repeat offenders on that list, unfortunately.
Well, and they can electronically pay now, so, I mean, they can, it's not a matter of waiting for checks anymore, they can log in and pay.
Oh.
They don't
Just
have to
like-
come down to the office and I don't have to wait until the end of the day for them to show up with a check. It's really streamlined. They can go online and pay. Call me and I'll change the status as soon as it pops up. I had this issue, I want to say Friday. So around 5 o'clock, someone actually ended up paying. I switched their status back, literally within minutes of them paying.
No.
Right, exactly. If I know I have a submittal that needs. approving.
And Gail, they are notified via email, that their license has been suspended. And then obviously they'll find out when they go to NADP that they can't file.
Yeah.
So they'll find out, so.
Yeah, that's what I meant, that the ones that need it will certainly take care of it. And the others are just not responding or whatever. Deciding whether they're retiring, maybe.
Right,
Yeah.
could be.
So this group that have until June,
90 days.
they're still active, considered active?
No, they're
No,
not.
they're-
They're not. As of April 2nd, they have 90 days, and after 90 days, they don't pay, they go to remote. Correct.
I just, thank you.
Okay. So the next item is update on the Acela portal. Did you have any?
Oh, that's
with
not,
that?
That was
That's
part of
not-
Natasha's.
Natasha.
Oh, that's
did that.
Natasha's, okay. She already did that.
Yep.
Okay. No, oh, no update for that, okay. All right, so the next on our list is exams, exam committee report, yeah.
Yep, I can provide an update. The exam committee met on March 20th and again on April 2nd. And they continue to go through the exam questions to evaluate changes due to the new MCP amendments and other documents. Committee is working on new questions with the goal of preparing a fourth exam. And the next meeting is April 17th.
All right, thank you. All right. Next is the continuing education committee report.
Sure,
David.
committee met today and approved 3 offerings. We approved the minutes from last month and we discussed LSP board presenting at the June LSPA membership.
All right. Now, do you need
Yes.
another roll call?
Actually, I don't think we do because there was a quorum present during the,
No, for education, it's not a committee of the whole, and you have to report, that's why you have to have the vote in the board meeting unless we change this from a committee from a subcommittee. Because it didn't used to include all the board members. It used to be only 3 or 4 people when it was first created. So we could, as a group, decide to change that. But
well, and I personally, I think because there was a quorum of the board present, and it's just listed on the agenda as the continuing education committee, that it's fine. And since the quorum voted on each of those requests, I think we meet the open meeting law and there's no need to take a second vote.
really, like we always did, so I'm just.
Well, I think that was because a long time ago, it was that we would just go ahead and start, we didn't wait for a quorum, that was why.
Well, actually, I just remember Alan explaining it to us when we first did our training, that it was created as a subcommittee. It was never created as a committee of the whole. But I mean, obviously, if it meets the open meeting law, it doesn't matter. But he always explained it that way, is why we had to do it.
Yeah, I
matter
believe it was a quorum of the whole board was there. I think we're fine. We don't need to just repeat the same vote that everybody already voted on.
But it means we could proceed with continuing ed, even if everybody's not there in the
Right,
future.
right. But we still can. I mean, if we do that and then we would just do what we otherwise do. If we go ahead without a quorum, then we get to that part of the board meeting, then we can have a formal vote of those recommendations. I think we're good.
Great.
All right. Good. All right, professional conduct committee. We do.
We heard the case.
Yeah, we approved the minutes.
And I went over the cases.
And Terry went over the cases and we didn't have any votes, right?
Yep, nope, there's no new business, no complaints, no new complaints.
All right,
You want to accept the. There's nothing to be voted on.
There's no votes,
No
nothing
votes.
else to say.
okay, so no board action there. Okay, personnel budget and fees. Terry?
So, yeah, on the personnel front, as I stated in the professional conduct committee meeting, we don't currently have a general counsel. There is a hiring freeze in place right now in the state, so we are not allowed to, look to hire somebody right now. But hopefully in the near future, when the revenue situation looks a little bit better, we'll be able to do that. I don't have any more information specifics about the budget, except to say that, we are starting to look to contract for a psychometrician to assist in, revising the current exams so that they comply with the recent amendments to the MCP, and also to assist with the preparation of a brand new fourth exam. So we're starting that contracting process, and we'll need to have money from our budget to do that, and it may be an addition to what's already been allocated toward the psychometrician, so there'll be more information on that going forward. We've already had an update on the fees and the payment of the annual fee, so I won't repeat that. And the only other thing I'll add is, I think you have heard about this at past meetings, but when the board needed to move out of our prior offices at 1 Winter Street, all of the paper files that the board had, like about old disciplinary cases, the LSP files, the files regarding people that applied and were denied for applications, all of that paper was supposed to be dealt with, because we don't have space in our current offices for all of that. So there's a room with about 150 boxes of LSP board paper files. One of my requirements as ED is to make sure that those boxes are dealt with. So we have started that process, and any of the paper documents that no longer need to be kept according to the timelines in the state retention schedule will be identified that they can be discarded. And any that we still need to keep, we will keep for the time that's required. And that I'm just working on that process, just to let you know. And there's somebody at DEP who's an expert on this, who assists with that and making sure that we're following the rules. There's another state agency that has to approve things before they're actually thrown away. So we're working on that process right now. I've spent some time last week looking at the old disciplinary files to identify ones that we don't need to keep anymore, and we'll be continuing to work on that. So I just wanted to let you guys know that was going on. I didn't know if you had any questions about it.
So the only thing left for the old disciplinary actions is the outcome, which is in the minutes.
We do have some things are scanned from those old cases, and we don't need to keep paper files for any cases that have been closed for 10 years or longer. I am going through those boxes to pull out anything that I would like to scan and just make sure that I keep a copy of, so I know that, oh, this might be a good precedent, make sure that we have that. Some of those things we have scanned already, but I'm making sure I kind of do that to make sure I'm comfortable that there might be something in there that I could maybe use in a future case. But yeah, does that answer your question?
It does, but we are keeping paper for the materials that we do need to hold on to for the time being.
Oh, yeah, that's legally required, we're keeping, yeah, yeah.
Scan it and get rid of it.
Well,
Not
we
that you would
could,
want
we could, I think we're not required to keep, if we can have an electronic copy, we don't have to keep a paper copy. But I don't know that there's any funds available for the remaining paper that we still need to keep. I don't know, I'm not aware that we have any money to be able to scan those
Yeah.
right now. So we may need to keep some paper, and by keeping the paper means we have a limited file space here that we could keep like the active LSP files for the most part, but we have a lot of offsite storage, and anytime we need a box, we could have it sent back over to us within a few business days, so.
That's-
I just wanted to let you guys know that was going on in case you have any other questions about it.
Great.
All right, that's all I had.
Thanks. All right, the next item is status of board member vacancies, and we still have one board vacancy for the environment protection seat. We're actively working to fill that seat, or to get to find applicants.
Did
Who
we
might
have
be
applicants
interested.
at one time?
We have had some applicants, but they didn't, some of them were LSPs, so they clearly don't meet the requirements. But we're still looking for additional applicants because the person needs to be a member of an environmental organization.
Okay, number 13, other business. Terry, can I give regulations?
Yep, as I reported last week, I am working on a updated red line of draft amendments to the regs based on the red line that had been sent around to everyone shortly before I came on board. And my goal is to try to complete my red line based on looking at that other one with my comments and suggestions, and I'm trying to get that done by the end of this month. So I hope to have more on that next month.
All right, thank you. B, report from quasi judicial session. At a quasi judicial session held on 2/13/24, was it 12/24?
February 13th,
Yeah, February 13th. The board voted to dismiss complaints 20C01 and 20C02 on the grounds the board lacked jurisdiction to discipline the type of conduct alleged in the complaints. Both complaints alleged an LSP sought to have updates made to his or her information on the board's website without the knowledge or permission of board staff. And that's that. Next meeting will be May 14th. We'll continue in the way we're moving forward now as a hybrid meeting, also on Zoom and in person. All right, and next we will go into, I guess, we'll have a motion to go into executive session.
We need to motion to complete the open session. And
Second.
not to return to open session.
Okay,
And the purpose of moving into executive session is to review draft minutes of March 12, 2024 executive session.
okay, that was your motion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second,
All right, approval. David Austin,
Yes.
Gail Batchelder,
yes.
Kathy Campbell,
Yes.
Craig Ellis,
yes.
Greg McBride,
Yes.
and Diana. Let's see, Paul McKinley. We'll skip
Yes.
Paul. And Diana Baxter, yes. All right,
I will send out invites for the executive session once we end this, so everybody should get an email for the next meeting.
And
okay.
Chris, can you send that to my Ramble email, because that's the computer I'm on right now?
Yep. Yeah, your email's in there twice. I just
Okay,
leave it in, so you always get
okay,
two.
good, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we will adjourn and we will not come back during, into open session again. Adjournment is at 12:57.
That was one of the meetings.
All right, I will send invites out in a bit.